Allah, did you get the COVID? Did you get the COVID? Did you have what you needed to pay for it? You know, your medical treatment? Did you pay for your fucking medical treatment? Don't worry. I just made the required contribution to your pension. I had to. I did this foolish thing where I contacted the Federal Reserve Public Comment. They made sure to put my public comment on a list right before the United Nations Pension Fund. Very convenient, wasn't it? They didn't respond to any of the actual issues at hand, of course. They merely created a blockchain that made sure to create a whole scandalous frame job so that they could redistribute whatever they consider to be pension benefits for international staff associated with the United Nations. I don't think you qualified. You were part of that local hire commitment, weren't you? So I'm sorry. I no longer have any reference points for you. Apparently, you've been cured and relocated to Dubai and the Ministry of Tourism. Literally. I'm looking for you, and instead they have somebody with a similar misspelling of your name giving a speech for the Ministry of Tourism in Dubai. It's not the same thing. It's really not the same thing, is it? I don't think women's empowerment for you meant that some woman was just going to completely replace you, regardless of what the demographic experience indicator quota was. I've been watching the entire time I've been back in Texas. Allah. You've become an entire organization of African Americans in leadership associated. That's what they did to your legacy. They made accounts associated with your identity and replaced you with, I don't know. And every single African American they have put in your stead has been engaged in egregious criminal activity involving chemical and biological weapons. And it makes a big difference when you have African Americans moonlighting as if they're somebody who would have been availed of the advantages of 100-year war bonds connected to the demise of the Ottoman Empire, that are intentionally engaging in unsafe manners, especially under the auspices of healthcare and public health, with mishandling of chemical and biological weapons. And the problem is, they've disappeared you, Allah. You're gone. You're not relevant anymore. You've been replaced by a beautiful young woman who maybe looks kind of like you, and some guy in Dubai that actually doesn't look anything like you. But you guys are the ones that are going to get blamed for what they did here. I already know it. Their model is going to make sure to liquidate a bunch of people. And in the course of that, they're going to charge you for it. I've been watching it this whole time. Right? Somehow I'm supposed to get the former prime minister to pay my $12 tax bill. But they don't want to admit that the reason I owe $12 in taxes is because they used 12 web portals in the West Bank to launder that terrorist attack in Dhaka. So we still got a problem. Because if you actually did any of the things they tried to frame you for as insurance to cover up for what they are doing now, then we're in a very bad position, because until some of your guys end up being more forthright, you know they've disappeared your friend's entire family line as well. When they murdered Barbara Bush, they also murdered that side of the family. It's gone. And so nothing anymore is actually you. It's been completely supplanted with something completely contrary to who you are. And I'm supposed to believe you did it. I'm supposed to believe that when you came here, you conspired. It's not the governor's fault. It's not the Senate's fault. It's not the Congress's fault. It's not the regulators' fault. It's not the banks. And it sure as hell isn't the insurance broker who got the advanced degree and has the international family connections. It's a lot easier and more demographically correct to blame it on you. And there's no evidence of your existence right now, which makes it seem like, what? Are you a spy? Allah, were you really a Russian spy? Were you really working for the Russians that whole time? Did you really not personally have any actual national identity of your own? That you weren't even really Palestinian. The Palestinians are nothing but Russian fucking spies. Is that what it is? And now they've done what? A makeover? Just like I've been watching what they've been doing here in the United States, where they took people who actually were from the former Soviet Union and they just disappeared them. They disappeared them and gave their identities and their lives to someone more demographically appropriate. So even if you have anybody that has a Slavic sounding name, well, it's not the same as it used to be, right? And you have to understand that in the race swap, whatever you were expecting to get has taken on a new dimension. Just forget about those people. They didn't really exist anyway, right? Congratulations. You're a beautiful woman. You really are. You're a beautiful woman. You're a balding man as well, right? That's what they did to you. Don't worry. I've paid on your pension obligations in triplicate. And I'm going to make sure to indict every one of them.